Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel for another Sundance 2022 interview. This is a very special one because this interview is for one of my favorite films of the festival this year, Emily the Criminal. Hello. Huge, huge, huge congratulations on your movie. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, John, I can't imagine how many times you've done this already, but with a festival interview, I must ask you to give us a synopsis of your movie.
Sure. So Emily the Criminal is about a young woman who is in a lot of debt, a lot of student debt specifically. And she gradually becomes a criminal to pay off her loans. We always talked about it as a thriller, but to me, deep down, it's almost like a coming of age story about someone discovering what they like to do, what they're good at, and what they might continue doing.
I could definitely see that applying. So this is your first feature, and it's not easy to get a first feature off the ground. So what would you say wound up being the key to getting a green light, whether it's your short, a person you met, piece of financing that came in, you name it?
Aubrey Plaza. She read it and she wanted to do it, and she wanted to produce it as well. I think there are a lot of actors out there who like produce movies or say that they do, but Aubrey Plaza actually does. She put it under her arm like a football and just ran it up the field. We could keep making sports metaphors, but I'll stop right there.
I'm all for it. You can keep going if you want.
She spiked the ball. She spiked it after.
Threw down. Who's the guy for the Chiefs? The quarterback?
Yeah.
Just like that.
Threw it down.
Can you do a baseball metaphor?
Patrick
I'm more into
Mahomes.
baseball.
Mahomes.
Yeah.
Patrick
Slam.
Mahomes of Emily the Criminal.
Mahomes did.
Yeah.
What's a baseball metaphor? She was like a no-hitter.
All right. So Aubrey and Theo, I'll toss this one to you now. What is something about John when you guys first met and read the script that made you think this right here is a first-time feature director that I should be taking a chance on right now?
Look, I'll be honest. I'm very suspicious of people, especially first-time directors. I always look at them like, I don't know if you can handle this. But John he lived this story. He understands this movie on a level that nobody does. And I think there's just something about everything that John said to me in those early meetings was spot on. It was clear to me we wanted to make the same exact film. We had the same priorities. And he reminded me of like Kyle MacLachlan in Twin Peaks, like just the confidence, almost like a robotic, chilling confidence that I couldn't get enough of. And I just trusted him from the beginning. I knew he had it. I knew he was going to do it and pull it off. So, and he did. So,
robotic, chilling confidence.
I'm loving the Twin Peaks.
That's something to aspire to.
It's a compliment.
It was in a coffee
I'm watching
shop.
John's face that whole time.
To the Kyle
There's always coffee involved with John.
It was damn good coffee.
For me, it was. It sounds simplistic, but the fact that we were rehearsing, like, because I got there legitimately. I came right from Atlanta doing this other movie. Had to dye my hair back to whatever color, and then like I didn't have much time. But the fact that he took the time for us to rehearse and get to know each other, and it was us three in there, was. I mean, to me, it's everything that made the film, what it is. People keep talking about like the chemistry of it. That started with the rehearsal. And the truth is, the sad reality is you never get it. You just don't get it. Even when people have time, they don't take the time. And the fact that John and Aubrey, as the producer, wanted to do that was everything. Everything. For what? Because it's, once you do these films, it's the team against the world, right? To try to get it done. So that was the beginning of it.
So thinking about them describing you as confident, John, is making me think of your director's statement where you were describing trying to be a filmmaker in a way that filled you with fear. So I'm kind of curious to hear a little bit about how you applied that fear to, you talk a little bit about it in the statement about funneling that into your script, but then also what happens when you hit set and then get into post? Does that kind of use of that fear have to evolve at those stages of the process?
Oh, the fear never ends, man. The fear never stops. Terrified right now. We already made the movie. We're done with the movie, and I keep expecting the movie to fall apart. I'm like, man, we just premiered, but I'm afraid the money might fall apart. I don't know about this. It's just, you encounter so many failures along the way that by the time you have a success, you're so calloused that you somehow can't absorb it. It's like a war veteran who comes home and like, you survived, you lived, and then you're at the dinner table with your family and you're still like in the war, you know, and they're like, dude, you lived, chill out. That's like, it's just so hard to get a movie made. But yeah, in terms of like the fear informing the writing process, I'm a big believer in like every movie you make is kind of a thesis about whatever your life is at that moment. I think those typically create the best movies. And at the time I was writing this, there was just a lot of uncertainty and insecurity in my life. I was trying to get a career going, and it was tough, and things were expensive, and I didn't have any money. And I think one of the big fears is that like the more time I put in to this career was time that I was losing potentially doing something else. I was constantly going, do I want to put another 6 months into trying to get this movie made? Because that's 6 months I could be studying for the LSAT and doing something that would pay off in a much more predictable fashion. And I was scared that I'd end up, you know, a middle-aged person suddenly looking back going, what was all that time spent for? You know, I could have done it for something else. That was the fear. And
I feel like that fear is probably very relatable to a lot of people out
yeah,
there.
I'm sure it is. It's funny because
wait a minute. What's an LSAT? Is that how you become a lawyer?
Yes.
You got it.
Aubrey Plaza. Yes.
Don't
It's
do
like
that,
the
John. Come on.
SATs.
Forget about that.
Jesus. But my point is,
I'm kidding.
Be a prosecutor.
There's like an equal fear to like playing it safe and not doing what you love. You know, that's scary as well, because you could look back with regrets in the same way. So it's, I don't know. Damn if you do. Damn if you don't.
You're going to celebrate at some point, though, right?
We're at Sundance right now, man. Look at this.
Yeah.
I hope the fear is in the rearview mirror eventually, because I feel like you've earned it at this point in the process.
No, I'm starting to. It's funny. Yesterday, my girlfriend was like, "At some point, you're gonna have to start like accepting that people like your movie and that it's okay. Like that's gonna have to start at some point."
Yeah,
I'm working on it.
Don't ever accept
right
it,
now.
John. The most successful people are the most miserable. Don't ever forget that. Sorry.
Dash. February 27, 2022.
Sorry, I don't know why I said it. I didn't mean to say that out loud.
I'll throw the fear question your way as well, Theo and Aubrey. So you two have so much experience, but was there a particular day on the shooting schedule of this movie that, you know, like kind of made you circle that day in red and say to yourself, that's the day that I'm going to be most nervous for?
I will say the and not to, give any spoilers or whatever, but there's a scene in the film where Emily gets robbed. And that day was very terrifying for me, because I just I knew what was going to happen. And one thing about this film that I just still am so proud of is the cast. Everybody is so good in this movie. It doesn't matter if they have one line or if they're Theo Rossi. Everyone is just so good, such talented actors. And I knew that the guy, Craig Stark, that we cast as the guy that was going to rob me was real intense and real good. And I just had a feeling it was gonna be hard and scary. And I was right. That was a very scary night for me. It felt very real. And I had a couple days after that to like shake that one off. But that was a day that I definitely, circled in red. Theo?
For what it's worth, it's very effective and sends the stakes soaring through the roof.
Yeah.
I think any time that we got into a car or a van, I was like, this could be trouble, because we didn't have the luxury of like streets being closed down, or it always felt we were like, the first thing I would ask is, are we moving on this one? Like, we're going to drive. Okay. And, John would be like in the middle of us, and Jeff would be somewhere, like you're wearing him like a scarf, and you're like, what is, okay, we're doing this. We're making, this is happening. And you just have to go, okay, I'm just going to keep driving. You don't know when you're going to turn. There's nothing. So you just hoped that those would, and they all did. They all did. So anytime we were in a moving vehicle, I was like, I don't know if this is going to make it, but it always did. And it was great.
It's very understandable. Just for fun, because I play a Would You Rather game quite a bit. Aubrey and Theo, I always ask the silly question, would you rather have to fake drive in a scene or fake wake up in a scene?
Ooh,
Oh, fake wake up for me. I mean, yeah, I fall asleep easily, like 2
I
seconds. I fall asleep.
honestly,
So I just go to sleep.
I'm going fake drive. I think I have so much driving experience on camera that I think I got it down. I mean, you just can't take your eyes off the road. People make that mistake. Actors
People
make
do the
that mistake.
bus.
Oh, I I'm into that. Waking up is very hard for me because I always feel like everybody knows I wasn't asleep. So it's like that. It's always hard for me to be like, "Ah!" Like I want to, unless like I'm being woken up by like a murder or something. I always feel like I failed at waking up. It always just feels like, don't overdo
Is
it.
that how
Don't
you wake up
overdo
in
it.
real life?
Don't
You
over. I
wake up
don't know how I
screaming?
wake up in real life talking to myself. Whatever nightmare is happening, pretty much on the reg, but I'm always afraid I'm overdoing it when I wake up. It's a really good question. I'm gonna keep thinking about
I could go on and on with those. Um, but I'm also very excited about how much you're producing now. But of course, being a producer can mean like a million and one things. So, Aubrey, for you, what does working as a producer on a project mean to you? What do you strive to bring to those films when you're filling that particular role?
Well, most of the things that I produce, I just hope that they get made, first of all, because they're always like labors of love for me and things that I just feel so passionate about, but things that aren't necessarily like, um, easy to get made. So just getting the movie off the ground probably is the number one thing. And then for me, it's really just when I read something that I love and that I want to produce, it's like I've seen it. It's like I've already done it. It's like some kind of manifestation process for me where like I read the script, I see it all, and then I just want so badly to deliver on the dream, version of that film. And every that's just in the back of my head all every step of the way. And mostly that is just about who you're working with, putting together the right team of people and collaborating with people that you love to work with and that you respect. And so that's what I'm always trying to do is just meet my people and just like, I don't know, try to just do everything I can to like to make that film that I first saw in my head.
I appreciate that, and I'm rooting for you to keep at it too. Theo, can you tell me about any conversations you might have had with John about nailing the right tone in this movie for how Yusuf approaches his work? Because like I feel like I'm implicating myself here, but there's a really surprising degree of warmth to the way that he goes about it. And, I'm sitting there thinking, what would I do in that situation? And I feel like he could convince me to commit a crime like that.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, that was that. Yeah. I like to convince people to commit crimes. I try to do it all the time. I do it with my kids. I'm like, steal that, take that gum. Don't, we do that at the supermarket. I just want to keep them sharp at 6 and 4 to see if they know how to steal. No, listen, John knew the tone of the film right away. I mean, and we were always checking in. It was always us three kind of like huddling on every little thing of the tone of it. So it's just sometimes when you have like a shorthand, there's just like, okay, we're going to try this. I mean, we don't have a ton of takes, right? So it's like, we're going to try, and you're kind of there. And it was always a build to that moment of when I see, not giving anything away, when I see her art in the apartment of like, wait, I have something too, right? And that it kind of like shifts their relationship together. And John knew where all those beats were. So a lot of the work is done for you in the way of like what you're doing. And again, this is why I love writer directors so much, because it's all there. It's all in there. And then when you have the star of the film producing it, it's like, it's really all there. You have every component, Tyler's like in right there, but it's all there. And Jeff was right there with us, the DP. So it's like, there's the thing that it feels like the whole movie is happening within these few people. That's really rare and unbelievable. So the tones are all there. John just knew the whole film. He had the whole film in his head, which is great.
You feel it. You feel it while watching it. I hate that I have to let you guys go, but I'll wind down with this question that feels really unfair, John, because you still apparently have yet to celebrate how good this first movie is. Would you ever consider making an Emily the Criminal sequel?
A gentleman never tells.
Fair. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah,
He doesn't.
I can tell you this much: I loved making the movie with all these people, and how could I not want to work with all these folks again? You know, it's such a special experience for me. It was like one of the hardest things I've ever done, but also like the best thing I've ever done. It was like a backpacking trip. Like there are moments of misery, but then you get done with it and you're like, that was the best. And you know everyone so well, and you're looking at your pictures like, you know, like it was like that times 100. Like that was the movie. So yeah, would I make a sequel? Like I would do anything with these folks again. You kidding? It'd be my purpose.
For what it's worth, you deliver a very full and satisfying story, but when I get obsessed with something, I tend to get very greedy about it, and I demand more, even if no one involved wants to continue a particular story and they want to do new things. But point being, whatever all three of you want to do next, sign me up for it. You kick ass in this movie, and I can't wait to see more from you.
Thanks so
We
much.
appreciate you.
Thank you.